Okay, so this is a section for both foundation and higher students. Okay, so I'm gonna do foundation bit first, and when I'm gonna be writing higher in the text, so you can skip to where you see higher, and that'll be higher. Higher is not really much, but it's later on in the video. Now, the first thing that everyone needs to know is about the fossil record. Okay, so number one, this is about the fossil record. So fossil record. Now, in order for the fossil record to occur correctly, and for it, in order to have the best preserved location and the best preserved fossil, a number of specific things need to happen. Number one, the place where the thing died and is buried under a layer of sediments should have little to no oxygen. This is because if there's little to no oxygen, then it's not going to decay. Oxygen causes a lot of decay. Number two is there shouldn't be high temperatures, right? Because that's going to increase the rate of decay as well. High temp, am I right? And the third thing is there shouldn't be high pressure either. So there should be no high pressure. Because if there are these things, then the chances are the fossils are not going to survive. Now, so if you've got a lot of oxygen, it's going to decay. If the pressure is too high, the temperature is too high where it's buried, it's going to decay away. Now, the other thing is, why is the fossil record, it is incomplete. Okay, there's no two ways about that. The fossil record is incomplete. So scientists have thought of, well, why might that be? And they've come up with a couple of reasons. Number one, soft-bodied organisms decay really easily. So they decay really easily, and they're not going to really be around in the fossil record. Number two, some hard parts of organisms, they end up being decayed because there's too much pressure, too much oxygen, or whatnot. Okay, so hard-bodied organisms end up decaying, etc. So they're not preserved. And number three is that perhaps the so-called missing links, are somewhere to be found. So we don't have them yet, but perhaps they're going to be found. And one of the things that they say is that they are buried deep under earth, so it's really hard to get to deep under earth. Now, so when you combine these 6 points together, this is an explanation of why the fossil record is incomplete. Now, the other thing, what you got to notice is, because it's incomplete, right? Let's say, so basically you'll have a little bit of fossils in this area here. So you'll find, let's say, some fossils. Let's say this is the earth. Okay, let's start again. This is the earth, and you've got different layers of sediments. Now let's say you've got bones here, and you've got a few bones here. So it's not many, but you've got more bones higher up. Now, what scientists do is, obviously they're missing a step, so they don't know how this got from here to here and whether it's related. But what they could do is they can make an interpretation. They can say, well, let's suppose that these bones are the ancestor of this organism here, right? So they'll find this with lots of bones, this with a few bones, and they'll kind of use their interpretation to make what it might look like in this section here as it was evolving over time. So scientists do use their interpretation in order to fix together the fossil record. Okay, so you do need to know this for your exam. Now, next on to the higher bit. Now, for the higher bit, I've got a website up, okay, which is quite good. It's basically, what you guys need to be aware of is the pentadactyl limb. Okay, now with the pentadactyl limb, basically what it's showing is that the idea behind this is that all the organisms show similar features, and therefore this must show common descent. Okay, this is the common scientific understanding. So if you look at this human hand here, this human hand, it's got a humerus, an ulna, a radius, some carpals, and phalanges. Okay, phalanges just means fingers. And if you look at the bat, it has a humerus, this radius, which is, this ulna, which is really thin, the red bit, and ulna, and so the yellow bit is the radius, and it has 5 phalanges as well, so very similar to the human hand. The horse doesn't look entirely similar, however, it does have a humerus, it has a radius and some carpals here with a phalange. Okay, so it's got a single phalange. The whale here has a humerus, the ulna, radius, carpals here, and 4 phalanges. And if you look at the other, so this is a crocodile. Crocodile looks very, very similar to the human hands in terms of its structure, with the phalanges, carpals, ulnar, radius, and humerus. And this is a bird. Okay, so humerus, ulnar, radius, phalanges. And so basically what they're showing is that because they're similar to the human hand, they must all have a common ancestor at some point. So at some point they all have a common ancestor, but because they use it in different ways, because they use their hands and their arms in different ways, they're gonna look different. And that's the idea behind pentadactyl limbs and evolution by common descent. And that's the higher section over. You guys can stop watching now. Okay. However, if you want to watch, you can do. Now the next bit, guys, this I just want to cover it because I'm not sure if I did cover it in the other video. So this is foundation, right? And basically all I want to say is the following. It's about DNA. Now we all know that DNA codes for proteins, right? But I just want to make this very, very clear, guys. DNA ends up causing a sequence of amino acids. And these amino acids join together to form proteins. Right. Now all I want to say is if there's a mistake in the DNA, right, this is about mutation now, so this is what I'm talking about here, is mutations. So where's my pen marking on here? So this is about mutations. Now if there's a mistake in the DNA, right, the order of the amino acid is going to be wrong. Order of amino acid is wrong, therefore the protein is going to fold up in the wrong way. Protein folding wrong, which means that the shape of the protein is going to be wrong. Will be wrong, and therefore the protein will not work as well. And you should know about basically linking this to B1, sickle-cell anemia. Right, now you should still remember, hopefully, that sickle-cell anemia is caused by recessive alleles, and it's when your red blood cells are sickle shape. They are the incorrect shape. They are moon shaped. And why does that happen? It's because the DNA has a mistake in the sequence. The order of the amino acid is wrong, so the protein ends up folding in the wrong way. It has the wrong shape, and so it's not going to work as well. So it's just something that I can't remember if I covered or not. Everything else except one other topic. Oh, I've got 2 other topics. I have. So there's 2 other topics left, guys. So that'll be my last video, and then that's it. Okay, so I'm gonna stop waffling, and I'm just gonna.